reach team, if by any stretch, if you wanted to call it that. On the opposing side, though, when we look towards Incognito, it may only be 25, but there's a man who can. There's a man with a plan. 20 of those wins himself. Pistola, the wizard, the freaking legend. And so far, that team has been looking absolutely fantastic. Grab your phones, grab your PCs, tweet the stream, because, ladies and gentlemen, we could be in for one wild ride. Sentinels versus Incognito will be your winner bracket semi-finals match. Dave, Sniper, OS, no scope. It's time to get messy.
Yes, and we did see that overshield acquired there by Royal 2, just doing everything he can with the sniper. But it feels like despite having some weapons, they're not going the aggressive, but they are now going to push on up over the Incognito base since they got a couple slays and they have the weapons that they need.
Training one player does drop down to get the shields back. Royal 2 opts to give away his position with the grenade, so now they know danger is lurking. Rolling back two players will be looking down through the side of the Needler. Maybe just pinned him for a second. Training does step up across the bridge. Now the green door push is real. There's players on his side, he needs to be extremely careful, but he's been very kept in check and kept at bay by that player wandering around through Sword. Forcing them back. Incognito have to get themselves together. A few deaths on the opposing side, so you will go defensive, and that's exactly what Royal 2 is doing, staying alive. It speaks volumes about this team. It speaks volumes about an individual player. We knew for a while during Halo 5 he was the sniper. He was the person. Took a bit of a break, and then Frosty stepped into that role of the more marksman kind of position, and Royal 2 would just let off the leash to do what he wants. Maybe now with APG being on the team, the sniper rifle falls back to him. He is just a formidable slaying power on any roster, on any game he would compete within.
And you saw the respect that Incognito essentially gave in that flag attempt, where they didn't even decide to pull it. They knew Royal 2 still had sniper over in Sword. They had 3 of the members down for Sentinels. They still didn't go for the flag pull immediately. Instead, they wanted to make sure they took care of Royal 2 before they did anything else.
A few warning shots come through, but nothing lands. Both of these teams not making any real flag advancements just yet. Contemplating the OS, Ola's there for it. Calls, collects, job done. Now they can pull this one back. He is on his own side of the base, so clearly this isn't the right time to push, but you do need to make use of this. It's okay if you don't do too much with it, provided you have it, because then the enemy doesn't. That is, if you want to look at the plus side, that is a small plus side. You're not giving the enemy team any kind of tools to work with, but you want it to put it to good use. You want to be able to try and push in there. Ola's actually going to at least
2 kills as well, so
yeah,
he used it to great effect. I think one thing that was really powerful that Ola did with that overshield was the moment he grabbed it, he pushed all the way towards his hall and then flew through the hallway. And what a sneaky route! You would know that player just assumed. I would mostly assume that when someone has sniper, they're gonna instantly pick someone going off the plat, but that player decides to challenge that that sniper, run on the plat for a moment, and then dip in through Needler Pit. So a great run, despite it being shut down. I love those little mind games going back and forth with snipers.
That kill there from Snakebite was absolutely fantastic, because that put the flag dead. That stopped the run in its tracks. Called the double coming out of Ola with the OS, so at least did something. The flag was then moving. TJ unfortunately did get quick scoped, it looked, as he made an advancement outside of his own flag. I just saw his body hit the deck, but regardless, the boys rally themselves back and get back on their feet. And I think compared to some of the other games we've witnessed so far this weekend, Dave, you can tell we've just seen a couple of scrappy flag pulls now, a couple of offensive, just direct flag bombing, get a few out, maybe try and run it stage. We haven't really seen that yet. There's a lot of discipline on either one of these sides, and that goes to the level of the respect these players have for one another.
No doubt, neither of these teams wanted to overextend and make that crucial mistake. Yes, all these players are able and capable of making top plays and game-changing plays, but they're not relying on that at the moment. They're saying, all right, we need a player-team game, see if we can take advantage of anyone making a mistake and making a misstep, and then capitalize and move forward from there. But both these teams being really hesitant and cautious as they move across the map, making sure that they don't put their team at a massive disadvantage.
Not sure if that's 2 or 3 OSs that have gone the way of the blue team now, so Incognito making a little bit of a move here. Slightly alternate route. Usually you see them moving through needles and then run it through there, but maybe they just clip the spawn because of where they are perpendicular on the map. If you're down low, you know they're going to be up high, so Sniper will be placed up here in the tower to try and get an eye line on that one. Neptune's being shot, needs help and support. It was a little bit too late. A valiant effort to try and put a bullet and give him that what he would needed. I suppose the good thing off the back of this is maybe for now, Sentinels are boxed in. They could try and keep them locked into this place, get a few more slays, and then go for the pull, but there's 2 players hiding. They are waiting. It's the lion's den down there. You walk in, and unfortunately, you will die. They wait patiently for the rest of them to come off the respawn, and they can work themselves together. This is great defensive line.
Yeah, they kept holding their ground on the flag and not giving Renegade any easy angles to get that snipe. So that was very interesting how they didn't decide to push out even when they temporarily had numbers and try to take over the snipe, but they made Renegade come to them, which just shows their strategic positioning as they're going against that long-range weapon. They decided as long as time is on their side until they had 4 members alive, they weren't going to push out. And you saw how they were able to pick off player by player as they were forced to come into those close-range quarters and fight near the flag.
Coil 2 naded completely to death. May have even hit through the window and just dropped below his feet. Oiler's going to make a bit of an aggressive stance here. 3 rockets to play with.
Look at the time sims. It's been 6 minutes of play. We haven't seen really one flag even close to being ran or captured. It is just these 2 teams slugging it out, trying to get some sort of slaying advantage, and then pushing across the map. But as soon as one team gets a couple picks, the other team reels back, waits their opponents, and bites back and pushes that advantage back to neutral.
I love how you just kind of touched on it, because eventually it's going to be go time. When you see one team just slaying out, they might go for a second wave of slays, and they might just think, right, bugger it, we'll go early, we'll get 2 down and then pull and then kill them on the retrieval.
Yep, expect as soon as 1 or 2 goes down there, unanswered kills, that a team is just going to fly across the map, whoever they can to shut down that power weapon or sniper as they're going for the flag.
Long haul snipe off. Lethal comes out on top of that one, forces him back. Green door now under check. Ola goes down, rockets are on the floor, and he's keeping watch of it. Both of them know exactly what's coming round the corner. Sayan takes a bullet to the chest, but he doesn't fall. So for now, these snipers are just keeping both teams at arm's length. That's a bit of a risky run when you know you've got no shield.
I think that's a great play, though.
Yeah?
They both had each other no shields.
Okay.
And in a one-on-one situation, you would argue, all right, 2 no-shield players, it's 50-50 coin toss. Now, what does Saiyan lose if he loses that fight? Nothing much. Now, if Snakebite loses a fight, he loses a sniper rifle.
Fair.
And it's also on the opposing side of the map. It's not like Saiyan was giving up positioning where if he lost the fight on his half, that they're now taking up more control. He's being the aggressor and being a bit unpredictable and potentially removing a power weapon from the hands of Snakebite. I like that 50-50 challenge.
You've always got to respect a really good repeat, especially if you go on one-on-one, you have the upper advantage. You think they've run away and all of a sudden they come back and then they just slapped you even though you're up on the bullet side. It can be good, and yeah, I'll totally take that one on the toe, then we'll agree on that one. Flag initially, a few kills, he gets it over, that's good. Can his second player catch it? Yes, he can. Now the green box run is real, but the nades are there. The bullet was also. Sniper rifle gets the job done. On the opposing side, APG is left to kind of stand this one down himself. He'll take the aggressive stance.
Nice
I
shot.
like this. Rather than keep the pressure on the back, apply it to themselves. The rest of the teammates can dive on in, maybe get a touch on the flag, which they do. So APG applying the pressure and getting stuck in has allowed them to do this, Dave.
Exactly. APG could have tried to desperate inside of Green Hall, maybe traded kills and maybe gotten a touch. Instead, realized that he can create an opportunity for one of his other teammates to get that grab as he applies pressure along long haul. And how did they not capture this after such an amazing play from APG and the flag being tossed all the way on their flag? This is going to be Incognito countering this on the heels of Sentinels near capture.
How did it not go in? How did they not manage to capitalize on that? The response was real. The sniper rifle kills were there. They stop it so within inches of the capture point. And all of a sudden they have map control, they have weapon control. What an invincible response.
It had to have just been the slaying power from Incognito during that scenario. Because what happened was APG won his slay. Lethal ended up giving up his whole entire life just to move that flag and keep it alive. And in that scenario, there was a 3-on-3 fight between APG, Snakebite, and Royal 2 versus it was Renegade, Sane, and Pistola, and they just weren't able to win those engagements.
That's insane. That is absolutely mental torture. Like, to be so close. All someone had to do was just desperate. Even if you died instantly, it was going to go in the back.
All Sentinels they do is just get slayed. They got the touch. Flag is on their half of the map. They have APG alive in a flanking position. Stay alive, get kills. Simple as that. Their reinforcements are going to come quicker. Lethal is going to spawn and be in the fight faster than Neptune was, even though Lethal died a little bit later.
The thing is, even though it's only one flag, and you can say, yeah, it's just one flag, but think about the bigger picture here. We've only had one flag in all of this time, so in theory, if they really wanted to do it, Incognito never have to overextend it. They can keep doing their own work and keep doing their own thing, but they don't have to keep desperate in pushes. They don't have to keep trying to desperate the pulls out of the flag. They could just slay out and potentially win this with a single flag cap.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Sentinels are being as aggressive as they need to. It looks like Royal 2 is just kind of sitting back here waiting to see if anyone's pushing through long haul, and he's not getting the challenges that he would like.
That is heartbreaking, but either way, it sets us up for what's potentially a decent game. Snakebite this time, now we see Sentinels picking up an OS. It's been the first time in potentially a while. Could be wrong there, but it's certainly been in the hands of Incognito that have been abusing that weapon. 1, 2, thank you! Time to put this weapon to work. Get aggressive, get the OS in, and do some damage. You can see Snakebite, he wants to get involved here, Dave, and he has cover from green.
Yep, great rotation. Instead of blocking over towards bridge or sword side and try and just get those instant spawn kills over in courtyard, make sure that his team has control of Needler/Mauler side, which is where they want to run this flag.
And the issue that he might
This
run
is dangerous.
Yeah, the issue that he's going to run into is an absolute ton of grenades are just going to land within him. And then he's going to be in trouble. Most of his teammates were already dead. That's 2. Okay, so it wasn't the triple, but the assists were there, so they know they got 3 down. Can they keep running this? Or they get okay? It's back on the
got
spawn.
That one. Yep, they got it. I think the big difference there that we saw from this time where Sentinels got the flag back on their half is APGs took it slow, brought it all the way towards Mauler, a longer route, didn't keep the flag in an exposed area, made it so Incognito would have to push so far across the map in order to kill a player who can touch it at any moment. And during that time, it was enough of a distraction where the members of Sentinels took their time, got kill after kill, and safely put in that flag.
Green Rocket's there, player still alive and kicking, has to be careful himself with his shields. Won't stay alive here because a grenade will do the job, or a sniper bullet running through green. Here we go, gets stuck in, take a look. Neptune looking for more, finds Lethal, up on top, snipe. Is he going to show his face anymore? Does he know where his hand will stay? Will stay in the bullet of the brain of Snakebite. Down he goes on the opposing side. Lethal now making a run here to try and get the eye line. It's actually APG, who must have just come off the back of the spawns. They know where this sniper player is going to be. 1 has fallen, find that 2. That's rather unfortunate. That will be a dead flag for now, but clearly they don't have the full information of how many players are actually over there because the nades are still coming through thick and fast. They have to be careful. There could be players behind them. And that's the next challenge. Make sure nobody inserts themselves from behind, because then you'll have the snake in the grass. It won't quite be Snakebite, but indeed it will be Snakebite. The second I say that, we hop on board with him, and he's running another flag while the rest of his teammates are just completely mopping up the opponents.
These teams just seem to take advantage of an overextension every single time, like you had mentioned. It was a position where Incognito felt like they could have maybe scrapped up that cap and started to push a little bit further than they should have. And they give up 2 deaths, and that's where Snakebite was already on the breakaway, already pushing the Incognito base, ready to pull that as soon as another kill fell in their favor.
I didn't see his route or how much damage he actually put down to make it there, but it felt quite quiet, to be honest with you. I think he just kept himself to himself and let everyone else do the work and then run when the coast was clear. And, well, 2-1 up from being down 1-0. Now the tides have turned. Now Incognito has the pressure that they have to deal with. A ton of grenades come through, chunks his health down, and away we go. Now we look towards the long haul side. Snakebite and co, what do you do? Do you keep up the pressure or do you go more defensive?
One thing I really liked about Snakebite's nade there, and this might seem obvious to most, was the fact that as it's going around long haul, he's just banking the nade out of the view of anyone who might be coming down that hall. So the second that they round the corner, it's just blown up in their face. First, it's just sliding that grenade really slow, or not slowly, but sliding that grenade so its first hop is in the visible area of someone coming through long haul. It's those small little differences that if that timing worked out perfectly, that player is just going to get punished so severely. Didn't end up being the case during that time, but it's just those small little differences that the players do that add up, and you know, they give themselves more chances, more opportunities to do those sort of plays. And yes, it doesn't pan out every time, but when they do, they just, like I said, they play this numbers game where they do so many different advantages throughout the game that enough of them hit and they come out ahead in small little ways.
Renegade going for a sneaky pull. Shuts it down. His brains are splattered on the backboards there. How pinpoint accurate they are with the sniper is just ridiculous. That a scope in, job done, hits him in the body. Must have been weak from that one. Pistola. Goodbye, little buddy. Off the respawn we go. That's killing spree. OS sniper. GG. Job done, game one.
And Sentinels obviously pulling that one back. They were down, what, 1-0 with 9 minutes into the game. So over the last 6 minutes, they're like, oh, we need to step it up now? All right, let's just step it up and win the game. So it's crazy to me how they're able to go on the aggression, pull that flag out, win the game when they need to, or tie that game up when they need to, and then also capitalize on any of the mistakes that Sentinels make, or sorry, that Incognito make, and essentially do a counter cap off of a flubbed capture from Ola and the Incognito squad.
I love how things that we see kind of transfer from different games. We talk about the slaying power and the aggression of Royal 2. Plus 11, I know it's an objective, but still dropping 27 kills and keeping your deaths down, allowing your team to play off the back of that. The pulls coming out of Snakebite were fantastic because they were so sneaky. The second one was certainly sneaky. I don't think anyone had any idea where he was. I was saying it was going to be the snake in the grass, and I didn't realize he was actually there. I thought it was in a different position from just glancing at the little screen on the left-hand side we have. To then all of a sudden just see him pick up flag and run it completely unchallenged. It speaks the bigger picture of where his teammates are perpendicular to him. Where can he run? What's the clear route? Where are people going to be spawning? This is, for me, when we look towards the Sentinels, their biggest attribute. They're by far one of the most coordinated teams in the world. Their communication, their leadership out the side of Snakebite, we always call him Dadbite, whatever, he's the one they all look to. Their communication is just something ungodly. It truly is. It's amazing to watch and amazing to see the whole puzzle pieces fall into place. How they direct themselves as a team, it's incredible.
Yeah, and just stepping up when they need to. It started to look dire for a minute. It just felt like, oh, Incognito's in the driver's seat. They're up one flag. They can play their own game if they don't want to get overly aggressive. And within a couple minutes, you saw Sentinels get those kills, push on through, and make it look routine as they ran that flag across the map.
Regardless of that, and I know it was a loss, but Incognito put up a damn good fight, and we should not take anything away from them whatsoever. It wasn't a whitewash. They give as good as they got, and this entire series is far from over. This is only game number 2. Slayer will be our next matchup. Sniper rifle, grenade launcher will be in play. Any particular areas, Dave, that people should be looking out for? I know we've touched on the landings before with the sniper and what you can do because of how open this map is.
Yeah, landings is where the sniper typically ends up for a couple reasons. One, as a sniper, you don't want any sort of sneaky routes where players can take around you. So when you're at one of the bases, somebody could get under the basement, go through front jump, go through spiral, cross the bridge. There's just a lot of different routes that you don't have as much visibility on that they can take to hit you from. And the fact that sniper spawns over at gold anyways. So there's a couple, it's twofold as to why sniper generally ends up on landings or top gold.
Ola dropping in to say hi, might be dropping out any second with those grenades. Support will come in from the back lines. Lethal calls for it, PJ's there. Initial nades go down, trades off on either side. Feel it out, see where people are. Renegades once again falls victim for the 2 versus 1. Teamwork, team shot. It's all going the way of Sentinels. I say that, it's a very early game. We're only 20 kills into this one out of a possible 100. Opposing side. On the 10s, we'll be seeing weapons spawning. Be aware of that. Doubles there, nade comes back. Wow. But the death finds the triple at least. So now they can get themselves up and into a position with something like that when you see 3 go down, Dave. But your rest of your teammates will rally to a point where you can just try and watch them off the respawn.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for. As soon as you see 3 from the opposing squad go down, your goal isn't as much, where's this last person and how do we kill this person right away? It's where are they going to be spawning? In many cases, that's the same answer. That last remaining member might be over at red base. And their teammates might also be spawning at red, and that's the best case scenario, is that they're spawning near their last member so that you can just spread out and control multiple areas. An open map here like Zealot, it's all about just having different angles and lines of sight. There's going to be so many times where, yes, you might say a position like top gold might be one of the most ideal positions. But it's most ideal if you have people spread out in other areas. If you have all 4 members top gold, I can tell you that it is not the most ideal position because you can get pinched from red landing, blue landing, either of the bases, top center. It's just all those other angles where players can easily challenge, then also back away safely, knowing that they only have to protect themselves from one angle on the map.
Safety in numbers and safety in the streets, because you have all these walls that you can traverse between and try and get some new point of contact. LOS in this game, especially, well, this map, should I say, is absolutely vital. Having line of sight on your opponent from, and this is what we talked about, seeing 3 go down and then letting them set up. If you're in a position where you're spawning in the base and then at least 2 people can see you spawning there, the chances of survivability to make it out across the map and even into an next point of contact with an enemy is very, very slim. So keeping people in check, even to a point like this where Snakebite will go top mid, yes, it can be a bit of a kill box, but it also gives you overview, a field of view of where people are going to be spawning and where people will be on the mop-up.
And you know Lethal is calling it out right there. All those players spawning over at red base and just saying, oh, we know they're all spawning here. Spread out. Get areas that they're going to try to filter away from. As you saw all that crossfire heading towards bottom hollows or towards bomb center. There's new players, which routes they could take to try to escape. And they're just ready to punish everyone in those directions. So even though they might not get the kills right at the base itself, they're getting in the surrounding areas because they don't really have many options of where to go. It's, you know, they go across bridge, they go across down low, or they go across to the landing. And 2 of those 3 are very open areas.
Panic stations may be starting to kick in if you're an Incognito fan. Kill for kill, but there is a 10 slay deficit they need to make up here. It's okay, Sentinels, calm it down, take your time. Time is of the essence when you're Sentinels. You want to keep on going, and that's what they're doing. The Slayers come back. 5 more. They're going to count this one down and chase them up in 2s. Neptune's there. He's the first victim. Follow it around. You may see someone on the opposing side. He's gold, and look at that. Instantly, the second it's called out, 3 people look towards him, and within seconds of being on this POV, he's dead. There's nothing they can do with this. They're in the rat trap. This is just so good to watch. The team shot is a formidable force. This is just a wave coming crashing down on Incognito's heads.
Nothing they can do, like you said, and that's a 50-35 dominating performance from Sentinels to close out game number 2.
That is amazing. That is just...
This is not the game and series I expected. I expected them to be good, but that game number 2 was a different level of good that I was expecting based off of, you know, how close our first match was.
Dude, Snakebite's kills. PJ almost got half on his own. That's insane. I mean, don't get me... Really not looking too much towards the assist on this one, just with how it is. Assists were pretty low on the opposing side, but still 21, 9 bomb on Slayer. What do you say?
This series will looking over, yeah.
Yeah. There's still a chance. There's still a chance to bring this one back. It's a slim chance after that beating, but they give him a good effort in game number 1, and we are going to be moving into an objective, so anything can happen. Especially on King of the Hill, it can be a little bit wild, a little bit wonderful sometimes. If you do play it like that, you force them into uncontrollable situations where you're just dogpiling and giving up deaths towards the hillside. So who knows? We might be able to keep this one going, but this is the team that we were bigging up there. This is the one where we're saying, yeah, this could be a grand final match. Yeah, this could be, you know, taking it all the way, maybe taking a game or 2 from them. It's kind of concerning for the rest of the tournament if the Sentinels put on such a show against everybody else and such a show against someone like Incognito.
Yeah, I mean, they showed that they're beatable at the start of like that pit flag game, but that Zealot Slayer game did not really look like there was much of a chance as we got towards middle/end of that game. And just they were doing everything right. They were doing the smart challenges. Any one-on-ones, they were winning. Any other fight, they generally had numbers and were just 2v1ing, or even times where they had like 2 people like 1 shot, as we saw APG and Lethal just bobbing and weaving together and double teaming the player come to landing. It's just, they make every kill so difficult and punish for every little misstep that Incognito are making.
I truly hope Incognito win this, just for the simple fact that I want to see Royal 2 on a Sank Slayer. Like Royal 2, Jetpack and a Sniper will be an absolutely formidable and beautiful thing to witness. On LAN especially, but they got to get through this map first. Nexus King of the Hill will be your 3rd and potentially final round if the guys on Sentinels manage to pick it up and get the job done. But Incognito might have something to say about that one. They give him a damn good first game. The second one kind of walked away from them. Time to reset, refocus, win this thing, and just take every single map by map as it comes. Reverse sweep would be needed in order to clear this series out.
And we will see if they're able to get the sort of setups that they need in this situation. I mean, it looked good for a moment there, as you saw Sane prematurely setting up over at red base and getting that side set up. But it looks like this control has swung back in the favor of Sentinels, as they have players over at red, they have a couple over at blue, and they have control of the sniper at top gold.
That was an insane quick scope. Preempting around the corner of the wall. Had all the information in the world, looks towards the hill, and he's just keeping an eye on these closet spawn as well. Tagged up but not fragged up. Needs to be careful because his teammates have fallen as well, so there is potential here to hunt them down. You have to know that no one's going for the hill at this point, even when there were 2 or 3 members of Sentinels down. Whether or not Incognito had the same situation where they refragged off the back of them, no one decided to go for it. Wait, that one player just caused so much of a disaster there that took 2 of them down in the opposing side and allowed them to come out of the closet area. Keeping toe-to-toe from now when it comes to the kills.
Yep, not overextending too much. I think both these teams realize these next 30 seconds or so are going to be spent fighting over red base. Neither of them really going for that hill, especially Sentinels, especially Incognito. Even though they had a bit of control, they don't want to overextend and give up a free death that's going to allow Sentinels to potentially push across the map. But despite not getting any hill time, Sentinels still somehow are able to get a few of those picks and get control of red.
13 points between them, and almost 2 minutes into the game. It's nothing, and clearly both of these rosters are going to be putting all their eggs in the side hill baskets. And that's fine, because you've both got the same game plan. It's just whoever can come out on top and set it up better.
Hill control.
Red side in control. 1 on snipe, 1 down green, 1 down low, 1 inside hill. Sniper from Neptune could be devastating here and could be the key to breaking this setup. Overextension doesn't bother. He just waits and bides his time. Hard scope is real if he comes flying around the corner. Goes for the no scope. This could be dangerous. There is 2 back-to-back. Ola needs to stay alive here, otherwise that's bad.
Ola still getting that kill, which is important, but I also think it shows a little bit of a misstep or mistakes going on from Incognito's side. They literally had Ola and Neptune side by side, and that player was able to take out Neptune and get Ola to 1 shot. That to me shows miscoordination from Incognito. They should be able to roll around that corner, do a 2-on-1, have 0 deaths, and roll with that advantage.
No scope's lethal. No health, so at least instantly goes down. We'll look through the glass area on the diamond side to see how many more players are lurking and lingering around here. Pick off any random spawners because he knows his teammates are on the opposing side of the map, so that's where they're going to be. Tries to use the sniper for some kind of an aggressive or oppressive push, I want to say, just to keep them locked down and keep them away from the hill. That's fine. If you're not picking up points, it's okay. It's like the Older West scenario. If you're not putting it to good use but they don't have it, fair play. If you're just going to lock them down and stop them getting points, same scenario. But time this time round does go in favor of the Sentinels. They'll be able to extend this lead by about 30 to 40 seconds. And this is by this hill alone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I also don't see Incognito being able to stop these last 10 seconds of points. So this is going to extend to about a 60-point lead here for Sentinels. Keep in mind, we went into the red hill nearly even. Both teams within 5 to 10 points of each other. And now it's a 56-point deficit. Jeez.
Sorry, Ola. That one hurt.
Hill control.
Walks up and has his neck snapped clean off his shoulders. Still no one picking up time in the opposing side. Royal 2 with the sniper. Nasty thing, especially if he puts it in the window and the rest of the team play off the back of this one. No one hard committing to this hill. APG's there, so he might be able to just play a little song and dance with this one and bop and weave, duck and dive. And, you know, you talked about before, just stepping in for a few seconds, stepping out, move in, move out, move in, move out, and a couple of points here and there. It will eventually rack up and it'll kind of just help them. Even if anything, the points to...
What amazing shots.
Point
knowing
of
that
interest.
There's 2 players over near that diamond or that curb, and essentially just poking out a little bit by little bit, challenging, doing so much damage, and also scrapping up time.
See, now we keep speaking about this hill and it being scrappy and such. This isn't scrappy time. They're playing this one proper. They're keeping one player in there and sending the rest of them to sniff out the spawners and kill them. So I suppose that's really the only time you can set up for it, where you know where preemptively players are going to be because you've just slayed them completely.
Yep. Keep in mind, though, so even though Sentinels got so many kills there and played that correctly, they essentially got about 15 points throughout that hill time, which isn't a significant amount. Because we talked about as we left the red hill or the side hill, there was a 56-point deficit, and then that eventually squeaked to about 70-point total difference. So it shows how hard you have to work in those scrappy hills to get so much time. You have to have so many things go right as far as getting the correct kills, position yourself right, executing right. Think about how many amazing shots that was, I believe it was Royal Tour Snakebite, who was in the top center hill, fighting over towards red side base, just hitting shot after shot on Ola. There's just so many things that have to go right in order to get a substantial amount of time in that scrappy hill. But you are correct that they played that incredibly well.
Aid launcher bombardment continues. Stop the assault from the side. Hill now transfers into the realms of blue team, but for how long? Not only have they been getting the hill time on the side of Sentinels, but they are good slayers as well, so they should be able to crack this one like an unboiled egg, drop it on its head, and completely break the spirits of the players over on Incognito. This one shouldn't be too hard for them because they have the men advantage. APG's there to scrap up the time should he want to. They don't necessarily need it at this moment in time. They can just play their game. Find them on the spawn. Same scenario as previous, like they were using the grenade launcher to stop an advancement from that sniper spawn, and now it's the actual sniper in the back base. That might be the lead of the death. There's the triple.
And that's going to be another 20 to 30 likely points that are mostly uncontested. I mean, APG has such a good positioning here, and I like that play. Takes the person who's furthest up and now gets to do some damage on the backside of Incognito. I think he could have gotten a little bit more out of that play, but end of the day, took out Ola, went 1 for 1, and now APG could very well get a spawn flank one more time, and he does get the spawn flank over at Red Closet.
Neutral hill at the moment. As soon as I say that, does roll into blue team. Lots of work to do here, over 100 points that they have to make up. 7 minutes, so there is the time to do it. It's whether or not the Sentinels want to even run it all this way down. They might just think, you know what, let's get the 250 and have this one done with. APG waiting for the shields to recharge, still got full health, so that's pretty decent. Means he doesn't have to attack any of the health pads. No need to continue any kind of assault on that corner. Player comes round, takes the advantage where he knew he was shot, but the nade will seal his fate, as we do see one player maybe about to transition into this, but Saiyan says it's okay, I got you back. Randy Nade, unfortunately, does the job after trying to stay alive for so long. And
2 players weak over there, 2 nades taking him out. That is,
I mean, reach nades a nasty out, though.
It's one of those times where it's, you know, if you get that finish on the player top gold, it's a game changer. You got that kill all the way across the map where you normally didn't have an angle to get the finish. And they were able to do that 2 times back to back. So just goes to show how accurate they are with their nades and how many times they've probably been faced with that frustrating situation where someone lives there and they said, all right, I'm going to practice this nade and make sure I know how to hit this every single time to ensure that player gets taken out.
Was 3 down, but they've not managed to really make anything of it. It's not really the correct hill to do so. Side towards red court, no one's actually transferring around, but again, they don't really have to. They can just stay alive and work as a team to wander across a good 50 to 60% of the map. Maybe get themselves in a better position for the hill moving. There's only 45 seconds left on this one, so might not be the play.
That's interesting from Neptune to rotate all the way on over there. I mean, we saw Neptune over at red. Hill's moving over to red in about 30 seconds, so I wonder what the logic is in that. It's either a couple scenarios. One is Neptune wasn't aware of the time and how soon it's moving to red, or 2, he has a strategy in mind saying, I'm already outnumbered over here on this side of the map. Why hold it on my own and die really quick when I can try to regroup with his team and potentially make a secondary push over towards red? So I would love to hear kind of what Neptune's thought process was there, or if it may have been just a little bit of a blunder.
All 4 of Incognito dead.
Minutes remaining. He'll
Preemptive
move.
nades to see if we can
He'll
get the closet
control.
spawn. No one there for now. All weapons up. Snipes there. Nade launchers there.
He'll
And Hill's
control.
there as well, so they actually have almost full control here if they manage to stop this push. There is an aggressive one. There's a stance inside the hill. There's 2 players making something of this. He missed the first initial shot, which is uncharacteristic of Lethal. It may have cost them.
I like that push, though. They didn't fully respect the sniper. They just ran right into the hill, challenged that one-on-one, and players' mentalities and their shots are shaken when they're caught up in unpredictable scenarios. There's a situation there where the player in the hill just assumed they had more help. They're like, wait, why am I fighting a one-on-one here? Why do I have to force myself to 5-shot this player versus this player being, double team? And similarly with that sniper being challenged so hard, there's like, wait, where's my respect here? I should just be looking down this long haul at gold side, and players should be backing down and cowering and trying to take a whole new angle. But those 2 aggressive pushes were necessary from Incognito. They don't have the time to afford to do a perfect push every single time. They need to not only push over and take over red, they need to scrap up the majority of this hill time to give themselves a fighting chance in this game.
Well, they're in the 100-point club, and they're still around 71 behind, so lots of work to do. Double will help. Looking onwards, Neptune gets the call for support. Flying through the air, at least gets the kill. Continues the assault on the hill, but there is another player there. Pistola has to go up to this one with the nades, maybe try and bombard this individual out. So rather than actually, I kind of like this one. The individual who was in the hill on the red team has opted to leave it and drop down low, which may... We've got killed or he dropped. I thought he dropped for a second. I didn't quite catch it on the...
Pretty sure he got picked on the hill.
Okay.
I think that's the body right there that Ola's
got it.
looking at.
It'd have been quite a good idea to drop down and maybe just play defensive and stop them getting in and going at it, but...
It's tough. Sometimes those areas in front of the bases are so exposed that it's a situation where it's like, all right, can that player live for, let's say, those 5 to 8 seconds to get their shields back, or have a situation where their teammate can help take advantage of it? Or do they say, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of this life. However, I do know I can scrap up a couple seconds as I make them get a different angle to pick me off. And it's always a delicate balance with that, as you're like one of the last remaining players on something like King of the Hill or Oddball is saying, do I scrap up these couple seconds? Or do I try to stay alive for a second, and that might not even be able to be taken advantage of by a teammate? It's such a tough balance, and each time with the information given, you might not know the correct choice to make. Sure, you can go back in a film and say, oh, it would have been ideal to do this and this, but you have such a panicky situation. You have so much information coming your way from either teammates, or sometimes even a lack of information coming your way from teammates. That's so tough to make the correct decision on a regular basis.
Snakebite just keeping him in check for a while. Tries to hit him with a plasma explosion, but it doesn't quite catch it. The splash damage would do a fair amount of damage, but it looked like he lived to fight another day. But for how long? Time keeps on ticking. They need every second possible. Impressive stance here from Royal 2. Just try and keep him out of it. No more nades left. He used them all up. Renegade's looking for him. He doesn't have the information. Down in grass as a trade-off, and that's okay for now. But there are 3 dead. The rest of his teammates mopped up his teammates. And now we're in trouble. This is coming down to the wire. Eventually we'll be crossing that threshold where it's just mathematically impossible, and it's a big GG.
Yeah, it's getting closer to there, but there still is a bit of time. Right now you can see how much pressure is being put on over at the blue base. Sentinels realizing that if they get control of blue, this game is over. The only way that Incognito can somehow win this game is if they get a full setup at blue and milk all the time of this final hill. Incognito focusing on the wrong base for a moment, or maybe just Renegade here in a call out that he's trying to fight against, but this is the final hill, and these engagements are going to decide everything. A nice pickoff from Renegade, taking out Lethal, missing on APG, and there's now a final player over at top gold. What are Incognito going to be able to do?
We got him. He actually got him with that second nade. That's the follow-up as well, so the opposing one's good. They need to keep a hold of this because this is the same scenario that we had before, Dave, in King of the Hill. They literally need to hold every single second. Time is ticking. It will go all the way down to the wire unless the grenades are good. They need to lock this one down. The sniper rifle's there. It's doing its job. He finds him at the side of the head. Where's his teammates? No one's in the hill. Renegade, you got to throw your body in there. There's one. There's the second. Doesn't hit it. DMR's out. Hold APG at arm's length. This could be it. This could be so good.
Now they have to worry about the gold push. That's the major angle that these players get going from. It doesn't seem like Saiyan or Renegade are ready from anything coming from gold. And here comes the gold push like I talked about. Lethal trying to push in. Get this. There's 5 seconds left.
They're holding on for
my
dear life.
God!
Cross.
The clutch team Sentinels lose it at the final hill, losing over 50 points in that final hill.
2 seconds left on the clock. By hook or by crook, somehow, some way, they do it. They get the job done. They pull it back from the depths of everything that was impossible. I mean, it was a 2-second game.
That is a tough one to swallow, because we even talked about before at the start of that, it wasn't like a situation at the end there where Incognito were fully clutching it up, if you know what I mean, where they were hitting every sniper shot that they needed to hit and getting outlandish double kills. They were just positioned correctly, and they milked it for everything it was worth.
Dude, who had the sniper at the end? Whoever it was kicking
it
ass.
Neptune, or was it Renegade? I mean, we saw some good
They were big kills.
Moments, but
they were huge. To be able to do it that swing of a
but I
moment.
also felt like they missed a couple at times too, like when APG first pushed in the hill from gold, and APG was also at the bottom of green. Maybe I'm just noticing a pattern here. Maybe APG is just tough to snipe.
I mean, to be fair, he was mopping up milk time, like so much hill time and just milking it, 111 points in himself, playing the objective. But for a scenario like that, you have to, it's rather underestimated how perfect you have to set up and how much perfect hill you have to play to be able to contain the opposing team, but control the hill more importantly.
As I was still in awe thinking about that last game, I didn't get a chance to fully look at those stats, but I'm almost certain we saw Incognito getting outslayed. I'm not sure how heavily outslayed, because I remember seeing one of the higher kill gainers on Incognito's roster being -3. It was like 29 and 32 for Neptune or Renegade, I believe.
Well, we wanted a game 4. I wanted to see Royal 2 on Sank TS. And boy, oh boy, do we get to see it. Now, that is the momentum switch that you need. That is the mental attribute that you want rolling into this. If the reverse sweep is going to be a reality, you want to win a game like that. From the depths of no return, to hold on to almost the impossible. How many, was it a good 50, maybe even 60 seconds in a row that they had to do to win that? They basically had to do everything,
I believe
right?
they had to scrap about like 45 to 50-ish seconds on that final hill, if I remember correctly, somewhere in that ballpark.
There's only about a minute left though, right?
Yeah, there's only 60 points left in that hill, and I want to say they got about 50 or a little bit more of that to close it out. So I didn't remember the exact timing as they went that final hill, but it was somewhere around 50 points.
2-point game. And it's series on, ladies and gentlemen. This sits us now into game number 4, Sanctuary TS. This is the playing ground where it all goes down. Will we see that glorious game number 5? Or will the Sentinels say, you know what? We give you a little bit and it's time to shut this show down. Royal 2, I get flashbacks from H2A doing glorious and wonderful things on this map with the sniper rifle. Will we see it again? Ola himself, throughout the dark ages and through the new ages, have also seen his fair share of this map. They all know how it plays. You know how it plays. Let's see how this one fares out, Dave.
It's like snake bite being taken out. I believe that was Royal 2 with the sniper in his hands, which is to be expected, as you said before, taking back that sniper role. But one thing we remember, Renegade got his start, I believe, as early on the Straight Rippin' squad with stellar sniping performances, and as we saw him being a world champion class player. So no surprise that Renegade is picking up the sniper here for Incognito. However, Neptune also would have been that other great pick.
Stalemate scenario. Everyone just not wanting to cross the 50-yard line. Completely excuse me, it won't Slayer. It's actually flag, and I'm going to completely excuse myself. I thought this were going into a TS. So it's double objective. CTF. Speaking of double, there's a double for you right on your screen. Sniper ammo will be recuperated.
In your defense, though, Sims, when these two teams battle out, it almost looks like it's a Slayer, especially until one team gets some form of a lead and is forced to go for the objective.
It feels
these
like
teams
it,
just
doesn't
go
it?
for kills because they realize how dangerous the other squad can be once they get down in numbers.
Is it fair to say, Dave, on a CTF like this, oh, there's one. There's two! Go on, my son. Find the third as well. He's over on P Street, moving through the back as well. That's disgusting. And it's those kind of kills what are going to give you the time advantage to maybe get the flag moving. The rock side he will fall, but everyone now scrapping on the side of Sentinels. They've got to get this one back because it's under the bridge. They're taking control of car side, and that's good. They can lock it.
Incognito does not need to worry about running this flag anymore. They need to worry about a counter cap at this point. They've given up too many deaths in this moment, and they need to just stay alive and get some kills, because look at these powerful positions that Sentinels now have. They have Sniper over in the Incognito hut. They have somebody pushing over near turret side. They have Snakebite just picking up double kills back at his own base.
Traverse across now and try and find these players that he just killed once again. He knows where they're going to be spawning. It's a simple base. There's no base swapping whatsoever. You'll always spawn in the same regions. Lock down one side, go P streak, go over to rock side. It's your call. Generally speaking, it's very the more understandable and one of the easier ones to practice if you want to try and locking people down to spawns and being that situational player of you knowing where you can direct your teams. But because it's a much smaller map, slaying does very strongly play a role in this one, because when you're running it, you know that it's very close where they're going to be spawning by, so your teammates have to keep them in check and keep control of where they're going to be.
Without a doubt. It's always that delicate balance, like you said, though. You have to do that risk assessment every single time you start to run that flag and say, all right, can we still push this further? Can we push this further? Do we need to reel it back? Because one of the worst things you can do is become a bit too conservative and hesitant around running the objective just for fear of some slays. You always need to keep that objective at your forefront of mind. And unfortunate blunder there from Saiyan as he drops those rockets in ring 2.
We've all done it. It's one of those where you just clip the wall and look away. Sometimes at the wrong point, but we've all been there. We've all done that, especially in the ring 2 area where you just fade away and just clip the wall. We'll see if this plays any bigger part here. If they now be able to kind of open up a gap himself and allow them to maybe move onto the backside. Jetpacks, a little bit of traversability, would you say, for now. Sniper will be dropping. And all of a sudden, the players have control of it. Renegade, you touched on it. Calling out this one player, I'm looking for support. Neptune's there as well. Should be able to shoot him in the back. But then again,
just that player staying alive in rocks, buying time for APG to flank up in this hut.
He came from nowhere, so he must have come down low.
Both him and Lethal, I think, maybe rolled on through Carbine, or maybe just came across street immediately. Clearly, for someone to get into the hut that quickly, like, those are the only 2 routes.
Dude, that literally just comes off the back of, for a second, Incognito tunnel visualing onto one player. Like, keeping your attention, just draw. The knife in the back becomes real. He's ringing into this individual, and that's fine because he's got support from his teammates, so he can kill him, drop him down. There's 3 of them there. One of them's on car, so they are set up to receive this one. But the problem is, who do you have on the opposing side? What is the play here? What's the stopping point?
They're still fine, though. Right now, they just need to get these slays. So Lethal somehow not dropping, finally getting taken out. That's 2 members down, 1 for each team, I believe. And I was going to say, as long as Sentinels goes even in slays here, they should be fine. But it looks like all 4 members here of Incognito are still alive. I had that read incorrectly. I looked at the kill feed and I thought 1 from each team dropped. But instead, Incognito should definitely be able to stop this flag. There's the reset. And it seemed like it's going so strong. You had all 4 members of Sentinels on one half of the map. They had rocks locked down. It looks like they had their own half watch. They had their own court watched for a moment, and these players just rolled on through ring. They sprinted across, got into ring and rocks, and were able to get the kills. So I'm not sure what the massive mistake was there, but they had a side of the map locked down. You can't ask for more than that as you're pushing the flag through rocks.
If you are a newer Halo player, this is the only map that we play in Reach that is actually 3 flag, and it's not touch return. In the other maps that we play, when it's 5 flag, you hop on the flag for 3 seconds, you can get the return. For this one, the flag has to stay dead for 15 seconds. After that time on the 15, it will return to your base. So it's so vital and so important that you kill and keep people at arm's length, because even if they just desperate it, the timer resets, and then the other teammates can come in for the slays if you took your eye off the ball. So it plays ever slightly differently, but that comes into conjunction by how small the map is.
Also with just, the way it plays, I mean, you have to do so many things right in the first place to even get a flag out to score it here on Sanctuary and to make it a bit more punishing. I mean, it was a necessary rule, and I think in game design in general, you don't want to make rules too confusing. and switch things up for no reason, and this was a good reason to make that rule alteration just for the sake of the game type and the play.
Jetpack coming into play, finds one, Royal 2 straight off the bat. Into the respawn we go. 2 players will be called out in rocks now. The information will be given away. Lethal is pretty much dead to rights. So that's an easy kill for him and just mops it up. Could have even used his DMR, to be fair, and saved another bullet. But you might as well try and do some sort of damage here and be a pivotal component in helping your teammates out to achieve at least one cap. At the moment, it's a bit of a stalemate. 3 red X's on your screen. That's not what you want to see. Something else you don't want to see, Snakebite in the back of your base running this flag, and his teammates are there to support him, Dave.
That's an interesting route to go all the way through shotgun versus just going straight through hut. I wonder what the reasoning for that is.
Oh, they're all pinned.
I felt like since players are spawning rocks, they really don't have the angle to shoot you in the back if you're going up high, and then you have bolt options if you'd like, if you want to run across street versus run low. But looks like it doesn't matter when the other team is dead and pinned in the rocks. That's going to be first cap going towards Snakebite and the Sentinels. 3
players just popped in rocks on the respawn, and we spoke about how important it was to keep them under control and keep them in check, and that's exactly what happened. They pressure them into the rock side. There's the double, and the relentless slaying just keeps on going. I've just seen the sniper pop on the opposing side, so you might be able to grab this and put it to good use. They focus fire now onto ring 2 to see if anybody's there. Grabs it, runs, bails, and even just wasted. I'm fine with this. If you're not going to get the kills, and if you're going to die anyway, you might as well take this.
Sims, is that what your snipes looks like when you're actually trying to hit people?
Dude, I just do it preemptively. You know, it's I'll take it anyway. I can't snipe, so.
I was watching some of your stream the other day, and that's what I thought it looked like.
That's a lie. I haven't streamed in years. This is, this is quite evenly battled, right? Because you're going to be feeling it on the opposing side of Incognito. Coming off the way you just won that previous round, you're going to be hyped going into this, and you know that you've got a couple of damn good shots on your roster. It's okay as talking about the sniping prowess of Sentinels, but when you've got Neptune, when you've got Renegade, when you've got these young guns who can just find a pick and find a face at the blunt end of a gun, of a quick scope, whatever. Flag is running. Health is ever so slightly low, but we spoke about it. We didn't touch on Cyan. He's got the sniper rifle this time, and he can keep Sentinels pinned in their own base.
This is going to be the cap to tie the game up. Ola and the squad needs to slow this down if they're concerned, but looks like Ola must be confident they have the slays to run that in, because they do not want to make that dire mistake of pushing that flag in preemptively, giving up these kills or deaths, and then putting themselves in a situation for a counter cap and the cap getting stopped.
All drawn up. Tied scenario here. APG just bopping and weaving between ring 2 and rocks, making sure there is no home base, if you will, for Incognito. Keep them outside, keep them on the barriers, and just work with your teammates to mop up what's been left over. There's 2 individual one-shots here, and he's just forcing all kinds of pressure. And now they will look towards this shotgun tunnel, which allows the rest of his teammates maybe to move further than ring 2, maybe to move further than the middle area and the 50-yard line. Just because he's in this hut, they're all looking towards him. How long he can stay alive, goes for the duck, but it doesn't quite work out. Neptune, fresh snipe. 8 bullets, show me what you got, buddy. What can you do?
Believe that tag hit Snakebite, trying to see if he gets him on the retreat, but instead opts to focus on the immediate threats coming in towards his courtyard side. Despite having sniper, his team is just pinned back right here. They can't get control of ring. They can't find a way to break in through the setup that Sentinels have poised.
It's a bit of a stalemate. It's a bit of a trap, because you know if you wander further than ring 2, you could be losing players, and then they have man advantage given up. That was the one that was needed. Take the guy just above the Walshy, he's gone. And now you can make some kind of advancement. Side slide here with the jetpack. I like that. Up we go. Down. Potentially Royal 2 goes. There is a bit of an aggressive stance from Ola, who will fall back because the health clearly was a problem. Nate gives away the position of Lethal, but there's someone else behind. Look at this hard flank. 1, 2, thank you. That's a knife in the back from Snakebite. I love this.
There's a chance to run this down bomb center if Renegade was not there. Reason being is Snakebite successfully infiltrated the back lines of Incognito. They weren't in positions just to instantly watch the flag grab. And some of those times, rather than going through another round or 2 of slays, you can move that flag all the way towards bomb side ring, and then you're in this position where you can just get a Slayer 2 and get that flagpole.
Last man standing he is. Snakebite holding this down on his own. Neptune could be the first victim. Where's he gone? just disappeared, completely juked him altogether. APG at least comes in for the support and helps him out, so they'll clear that one up between the two of them. Ring 2 is hot. They know they need to be aware of this one. Maybe Ring 3 could be your next advantage point. Look down at the players. Cyan will step out to try and take an aggressive stance, but Lethal's there for support. APG as well. They lock it down. Rockets, I think, have just popped. Nades come in from the opposing hut and down the street. We will go. Those rockets now could be pivotal in cracking open this doorway and moving another flag.
I was gonna say this is an interesting position from APG, just to launch the long-range rockets versus trying to push on over towards Snipe Hut. It's really tough to bring those rockets in through rocks and be as effective with them. Whereas if you bring them towards Snipe Hut, you can get this height advantage as you push in towards Health Pack and get above the people on rocks. But it seems like he opted just to hold the support role as his teammates already acquired those positions and pushed in for the flag grab.
So they got 3 down, Dave. They opted to take the flag. They knew they were going to be spawning in rocks, but they took the flag to the rocks, and then they can continue the bombardment. It's worked out fine because all those players just see this flag appear, someone jumps down, and then from 3 dead, you go to 4 dead, and your flag is moving, and that, off of the back of being slayed twice in a row back-to-back, has put Sentinels in the driving seat 2-1.
One other thing I also want to point out in defense of APG there in that position is Sentinels are a team that can cap even without having the power weapons in the most ideal spots. They can pull caps out without having a sniper rifle or rockets. And so APG just realized that his teammates were in the right positions, and yes, in maybe an ideal world, he would be over at Snipe Hut with rockets there. But in that situation, it just panned out where they didn't have time to rotate there, or maybe they prefer to have someone that can hold ring all by themselves and ensure that no opponents can take over that power position. So huge props for that if you look at it from that lens. But because end of the day, they got the flag cap that they needed. They now have a strong lead, and they just have to hold on to this for 90 seconds.
I don't know how that one player who was on with then managed to stay alive. He did dip down low, and he's basically just been hanging around the Snipe Hut. All kinds of problems. Flags reset. Still alive is actually PJ himself. Snakebite, the man who can. Finally, he's dead. So is the flag as well. 1 minute 10 remaining on the clock, Dave. They want to do something. Incognito. They're running out of time to make it happen. Double kill is there, but unfortunately so will be a spawner. Renegade hits him. Pistola's got support from his teammates. That's the help that he needs. But in order to move this, they have to get a wave of slays themselves.
Flag taken.
This is the moment they're looking for. Looks like they got 2 down. Ola has this so far in the rocks. Now what they need to do though, Incognito needs to not stop yet. Their goal should be to get the flag all the way on their half of the map, maybe towards their hut or towards the ramp, and then slay. So if they're in doubt right here, if they feel like any risk of dying, Ola needs to stop this and slay. 2 of his members down, he needs to drop this and get some kills. This is not a very beneficial move at the moment for Ola in the Incognito roster.
I'm surprised he hasn't just run it in yet.
That's a desperate play if he goes for it. He's now revealing that in a position where his teammates are going to die if they have to touch that flag.
He's going for it.
Ola
He's going for it. Doesn't get it. His teammates are there. Can they desperate it in? Where are they? Will they run this one? Renegades is there. They know that they're all playing around the rocks. There's several members. He's going to get it. They throw in a second member.
No.
There's 2 seconds. They have to get this one in, but it's flag out. The overtime will go down. And they're going to defend this one, and Sentinels will say,
that is difficult.
Not today.
Now, what needs to happen in that play is, since the flag didn't already die on the flag plat, they could keep it over on the turret ramp, or they could even run it back towards turret and bring this flag in this unorthodox position where Sentinels are forced to take over that one small area. Instead, they put it out in the open where teams are used to defending those desperation flag runs. And I think they just got a little too thirsty to close that game out or tie that game up. They said, all right, maybe one of us can just slowly sneak this one in. And it was too good to be true, as usual.
Well, there were 2 points to that one. At one point, we saw Ola, he did kind of like turn when he was in rocks to check behind him. And that's, I know it's only a second, but it's still a second difference that he could have been running that flag further. And that it's all, you know,
I would say
hindsight.
the issue wasn't there on their side of the map.